Live from WNY News, I'm Yanni Best. Here are the latest headlines. Why special counsel subpoenas Mark Meadows, Jared Kushner, and Ivanka Trump. How Donald Trump used the FBI and DOJ to persecute his critics during his presidency. Can Trump be reinstated as President of the United States? Why a judge rejected Scott Perry legal defense. Trump's lawyers under scrutiny by Jack Smith about the classified documents. We will tell you why. Closing analysis about what actually the Republican Party stands for. Those were the headlines. Now for the details. But first, we will begin with this special report from the desk of Emmanuel Johnson, senior legal analyst, to tell us why witnesses lied to the special purpose grand jury in the Fulton County investigation into Donald Trump's election fraud allegations.
Good morning. There are three reasons why witnesses will lie under oath to a grand jury. First, they lied to protect the target, Donald Trump. Second, they lied because they are scared or afraid of the target. And third, maybe they were part of crimes committed by the target, so they lied. Point number 1. The witnesses lied to the special purpose Fulton County grand jury because, for example, they were trying to protect the target of the investigation, so they lied about his crimes. Point number 2. The witnesses lied because they were afraid or scared of the target of the investigation. They didn't want to snitch, or they didn't want to be put in harm's way. For example, maybe they were loyal to the target, scared of the target and the implications of telling the truth about the target's crimes. And point number 3. Maybe the witnesses lied because they were complicit in those crimes. Meaning, they were part and parcel of the election conspiracy crimes that Trump and others have committed. Example, the witnesses didn't want to tell the truth because it would incriminate them. However, they always had the option and unfettered chance to plead the fifth and say, I decline to answer those questions, but again, you can't lie once you are under oath. If you made a decision not to evoke your Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination, but instead you decide to lie. By so doing, the prosecutors will now have leverage over you and force you to tell the truth because you committed a federal crime called perjury. The prosecutors can indict you and prosecute you for that. I'm Emmanuel Johnson reporting from New York.
You listening to WNY News, I'm Yanni Best in New York. Special counsel Jack Smith recently subpoenaed former Trump's White House chief of staff, Mark Meadows, Jared Kushner, and Ivanka Trump, who also worked in the White House as top advisors to the ex-president. We believe the special counsel detected that Jared, Meadows, and Ivanka may have lied under oath to the January 6 Select Committee investigation regarding the Capitol riot, and he wants some answers why they lied. In this case, they can't go in and lie to a grand jury because they will be indicted or charged with perjury, and they can't plead the fifth either. Jack Robinson, tell us more.
Former Trump's White House chief of staff, Mark Meadows, has reportedly been subpoenaed by the special counsel investigating Donald Trump for his role in the January 6 Capitol riots. According to WNY News, the former White House chief of staff received the subpoena in January this year. Mr. Smith's office is seeking documents and testimony in connection to the January 6 insurrection, when hundreds of Trump supporters descended on Capitol grounds and rioted to stop Joe Biden's certification of the 2020 presidential election results. Mr. Meadows was Mr. Trump's final White House chief of staff and could become one of his closest advisors to be questioned in the special counsel's investigation. Jack Smith's first investigation involves Mr. Trump's handling of sensitive classified documents which were found at his Florida resort during a raid. The second one is probing Mr. Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 presidential elections results, including an alleged plot to submit fake slates of electors to block Congress from certifying Democrat Joe Biden's victory. During the January 6 House Select Committee hearings, Cassidy Hutchinson, a top aide to Mr. Meadows, testified that he told her things might get real bad on the 6th of January 2021, when the riots occurred. The former White House chief of staff Staff, previously fought a subpoena from a special grand jury in Georgia, citing executive privilege. He was later ordered to testify after finding him material and necessary to the investigation, and he will also be ordered to testify to the DOJ's grand jury. Jack Robinson for WNY News, in Washington. In another development, the special counsel also subpoenaed Ivanka and Jared Kushner respectively. It seems like they may have lied when they testified during the January 6 Select Committee public hearings. Ivanka Trump, the daughter of former President Donald Trump, and her husband Jared Kushner have been subpoenaed by special counsel Jack Smith. According to ABC News, the couple's subpoena is specifically related to the special counsel's probe of January 6 and the activities leading up to that day by the former president and his allies regarding efforts to overturn the 2020 election. WNY News reached out to the lawyers for Ivanka's and Jared's for comment, but they didn't respond to the request. Ivanka Trump and Kushner worked as senior White House advisors to President Trump during his 4 years in office. Political experts believe that Mark Meadows, Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner will flip on Trump to save themselves for perjury because they can't lie under oath to the grand jury to protect Donald Trump. They will be charged with conspiracy, obstruction of justice or perjury for lying. If Trump is indicted, he will throw all of them under the bus just to save himself. Jack Robinson, WNY News reporting from the Justice Department.
This week, the Supreme Court declined to consider the appeal to the Brunson v. Adams case. Ralland, Darren, and Loy Brunson, the three brothers hoping to reinstate former President Donald Trump in the White House, have suffered yet another setback as their case has been rejected for the second time by the Supreme Court. WNY News national correspondent, Gloria Lawson has the rest of that story.
The U.S. Supreme Court previously dismissed the case for the first time in January, declining without comment to hear Ralland Brunson's October 2022 petition. Brunson posted an update on Facebook following the court's ruling in January. He writes, "The petition was denied. We will now make our next move. A petition for reconsideration. Hang in there everyone." The Brunson vs. Adams lawsuit seeks to remove President Joe Biden from the White House and reinstate former President Donald Trump as President of the United States. They claimed that lawmakers violated their oaths of office by refusing to investigate the allegedly fraudulent 2020 general election, which it claims was rigged in Biden's favor without any facts to substantiate their claim. I'm Gloria Lawson reporting.
This is WNY News. We bring you another story about how Donald Trump weaponized and used the FBI and the DOJ to prosecute his critics during his 4 years in office. FBI agent Peter Strzok on Wednesday said former President Trump and others successfully chilled the FBI's willingness to investigate anything Trump-related, complicating later inquiries into the former president's handling of classified documents. That FBI agents and Justice Department prosecutors squabbled over how aggressively to criminally investigate Trump's handling of classified documents, including whether to conduct a surprise search of his Florida residence. Michael Hills reports.
Trump, Attorney General William Barr, Special Counsel John Durham, and others successfully chilled the FBI's willingness to investigate anything related to Trump. The FBI handled Trump with unprecedented kid gloves, afraid to follow the facts for fear of political blowback, delaying the investigation for months. Some FBI agents thought Trump's team should be believed in saying they'd turned over all the documents, while prosecutors pressed further investigation. Prosecutors urged the FBI to surprise search Mar-a-Lago, while two top FBI officials said they should ask the former president's permission. Trump also wanted to censor Jimmy Kimmel for telling jokes about him. Those were few examples showing how Donald Trump weaponized these departments to help him cover up his crimes. Michael Hills for WNY News, Palm Beach, Florida.
The chief judge of the Federal District Court in Washington, D.C., secretly rejected Representative Scott Perry's bid to shield more than 2,000 messages relevant to Justice Department investigators probing efforts by Donald Trump to subvert the 2020 election, according to newly unsealed court filings, U.S. District Court Chief Judge Beryl Howell unsealed her extraordinary December 28 decision on Friday evening, determining that the powerful public interest in seeing the previously secret opinion outweighed the need for continued secrecy. CC Holder has more.
The Republican lawmaker from Pennsylvania had urged Howell to block the Justice Department from accessing 2,219 documents stored on his phone, which was seized and imaged by the FBI last August as part of the 2020 election investigation. He claimed that the records reflected his efforts to research potential legislative decisions, like whether to vote to challenge election results on January 6, 2021, and therefore should be protected from disclosure by the Constitution's speech or debate clause, a provision meant to safeguard lawmakers from pressure or intimidation by the executive branch. Scott Perry claimed is bogus because he can't shield those documents because he was part of the plot to overturn the 2020 presidential election. This is CC Holder reporting.
Why is Trump's lawyers being scrutinized by special counsel Jack Smith? According to WNY News, the Department of Justice is seeking answers from Trump's lawyers about a box containing classified materials that was moved to former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago residence, after federal agents searched the property last August. Federal prosecutors investigating efforts to overturn the 2020 election by Donald Trump and his cronies have asked witnesses extensive questions about the actions of Rudy Giuliani, Trump's former lawyer who helped push the big lie about election fraud. The prosecutors were trying to ascertain where he got his information about the alleged fraud, what he did in the days around January 6, 2021, and what he knew about the actions Trump took on the day of the insurrection. Senior reporter Jennifer Brooks has the details.
According to CNN, the aide who scanned the classified documents on her laptop was reportedly interviewed by investigators working for special counsel Jack Smith and provided her laptop password in response to a subpoena. Smith was appointed in November to oversee the Department of Justice investigations into Trump, including its probe into the former president's handling of classified documents. Investigators are also looking into classified documents taken from Mar-a-Lago, Trump's Florida home and private club. The DOJ said they have enough evidence that the ex-president used the attorney's legal service in furtherance of a crime. The prosecutors have sought to force testimony from Evan Corcoran, the guy who wrote the attestation including Boris Epshteyn, in connection with both classified documents and Donald Trump's fake electors scheme. Others who are under scrutiny are Christina Bobb, Alina Habba and Jesse Benoit, all of who were involved with the classified documents case. Were thoroughly quizzed by the Justice Department prosecutor's grand jury. Evan Corcoran was the lawyer who signed off on the attestation stating that Donald Trump has given all of the documents back when Trump still has hundreds of classified documents been moved around to other places at Mar-a-Lago. Ms. Bobb, who signed the attestation, said, "I got the directive to sign the document from Evan Corcoran, who drafted the document." However, the DOJ prosecutors will want to know from Mr. Corcoran, who gave him that information. Where did he get that information from? Because they lied to the DOJ, it is time for them to find lawyers to defend them because they are in big trouble. I'm Jennifer Brooks reporting.
We will close with this analysis about what the Republican Party stands for. The GOP party is a party of hypocrites, liars, conspiracy theories, white nationalists, fraud, corruptions, hatred, narcissism, division, violence, revenge, election deniers and MAGA cult insurrectionists. It has become the party of Donald Trump's personality cult. They have no love or interest for this country. They have no ideas, and no plans to help struggling Americans either. Their paramount concern is to gain everlasting power and wealth. Please don't forget to like, share, and above all subscribe to this channel so we can continue to bring you all the latest news. Thanks for watching. I'm Yanni Best in New York.